Welcome into the recruiting roundup. I'm Jordan Ham. And if you haven't heard, there's a pretty big game going on this week, Hamilton and Saguaro, plenty of big prospects. So I thought, why not bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Huffman of 247Sports. Help give us a national perspective on some of these big time prospects. Brandon, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jordan.
So with this matchup, game on ESPN, plenty of big names. You have the Hamilton side where there are quite a few Colorado players that were highly touted coming in. Pair that with the likes of Cole Martin on Saguaro, quite a few top 2021 players in Bram Walden, Quentin Somerville, Denzel Burke, and of course, Coach Mons always has plenty of younger talent as well. Just when you see this type of talent coming together, just what's your big takeaway with games like this, and how does this help you evaluate for guys going on to the next level?
Well, it's one of those opportunities where you get to really see best on best. And I think that that's something that really helps in the evaluation process, because when you get to see like talented players go against each other, you get a much better gauge of their long-term viability. You get a chance to see, how much more competitive are they when the guy lining up across them is just as good, maybe even better than maybe say if they're playing another school that doesn't have nearly the talent. So you really get a chance to see just how good players are. I remember a year ago when I got to see Pinnacle for the first time, and Tosh Baker went up against JT Tuimoloau, the number one player in the country in 2021. And Tosh Baker, JT did what the number one player was supposed to do and won the majority of those matchups. But it also gave me a chance to say, hey, Tosh Baker is clearly the best offensive lineman in the West, because he didn't get completely dominated by an elite guy. When they flipped him over, he held his own really well. So I think that just what gives you a chance. You can really see just how good that talent is when the guys lining up right across from them are just as equally as talented, if not more so.
You have Nico Marchio going up against a very good but young secondary in Saguaro. You also think of the SaberCats defensive line with Quentin Somerville, Alani Ma'afu, Darian Dalton, Tristan Monday, against a really good Hamilton offensive line that they say finally has some beef to them. Is there a matchup that you're particularly interested in seeing when evaluating this type of game?
Well, I think for Marshall, this is a good opportunity for him to really put himself up there as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. We've got him as a top 247 player. He's a top 6 quarterback nationally, but this is the kind of game where you get to see yourself maybe move up even more, because this is the big jump in talent from Colorado to Arizona. So you're now getting to see him against, the pass rush of a Quentin Somerville, a Denzel Burke out there. You get to see, just how well he's able to, really pick apart defenses when there's a lot more talent across there. Now, it would have been great a year ago when you had that all-world secondary that Saguaro had. But like you said, Jason Mons always has talent, always has young talent. And this defense is going to be a test for Marshall to really show, like, hey, you're not in Colorado anymore, man. The talent here in Arizona is deep and strong. It's really good. If you could translate that now to Arizona, the sky's the limit for you.
Cole Martin has really quickly shown what he can do on the varsity level. I also love he brings a swagger to the field that never backs down, no matter the wide receiver he's going up against. What's been your initial evaluation of him the first year plus at the varsity level? Obviously, a lot of talent, a lot of offers, but what type of player could he be a couple years down the road?
First of all, it's crazy to think he's a sophomore in high school, because I remember when his dad, Demetrius, was the defensive backs coach at the University of Washington, and I would go to camps up there, and you'd see Cole running around the practice field as a kindergartner, as a first grader, and then I'd go down to camps at UCLA, and you'd see Cole there as a third and a fourth grader, and now here he is as a sophomore in high school. I got a chance for the first time to see him as a high school player back in February in the Skeet at the Pylon National 7-on-7. And you see a guy that we think very highly of. He's a top 100 player in the 2023 class. He's the number one prospect in the state at this point. A guy, like you said, the swagger. I mean, when you watched his dad coach at Washington, at UCLA, at Arizona, now he's at Colorado. When he was at USC as a grad assistant, his dad coached with the swagger. And you see that with DB coaches. They kind of go out there, they just have this aura to them that I'm going to dominate the player across from me. And that's what Cole's been able to see. And, there's a guy who's been working out and going to these practices and watching these elite DBs over the course of his high school career and his middle school and elementary career. And now it's his chance to shine. And I think what he brings is just an unusual confidence that not a lot of high school players have, because not a lot of high school players grow up around college football players. They're not around future NFL guys as frequently as he's been over the course of his life. And so I think, when you're lining up, even as a third grader, going up against receivers that are playing in the NFL, yeah, it might be a cute little video, but in his mind, it's, hey, I'm getting better. And now that he's in high school, he's going into every matchup thinking that he's going to dominate that receiver ahead of him because he's been working technique-wise. He's been working as a player. He's been watching an inordinate amount of film. And then you've got a Pac-12 coach as your dad going over film and teaching you tendencies of the receiver. You're seeing that all put together, and the sky really is the limit for Cole these next couple of years.
When you look broad strokes just at the state of Arizona, class of 2021, many of the top players already committed. I think that's been a trend across the board here with the coronavirus. But when you look at 2021, 2022, even 2023, anybody jumping out to you that may not be getting the recruiting love currently, but might blow up here in a matter of months?
Well, I don't know if I would say that this person's not getting the recruiting love, but a player that I think is in getting enough national love right now might be Isaiah Newcomb. And I think the start he's had his first 2-3 games has shown that, this is a talent here as well. And I think he's a guy that's certainly going to be, probably in contention for a top 247 spot down the line. When you think about his size, his speed, his skill set, obviously he's got great ties. His dad been a former Big 12 quarterback back in the day. So he's one guy. I also think, Corin Adams over at Chandler, he's another guy that you look at the talent that Chandler has, and you would think that, more offers would come. I think his size is maybe holding some schools back, but the electricity is there, the playmaking ability is there. So, with a guy like him, he's right on the cusp of maybe seeing his recruitment take off. And then I think you look at the Brophy prep tree. You got Zach Swanson, who's the number 3 player of the state, defensive end. You got Benjamin Morrison as well, is one of the best corners out west. And then you also have Tyler Powell as well, the tight end, who can, be maybe has the highest ceiling of any of those 3 Brophy prep guys. I think those 3 alone, as their season gets going, I think you could see a rise in their recruitment as well. Arizona is kind of in that position right now where now as their season's getting started with, Colorado just getting started, Idaho and Montana have been playing. Utah's really been the only West Coast state that's been really playing with enough talent. So I think you're really going to see a lot of Arizona guys recruitments take off in the next couple of weeks as more film becomes available, as some of these teams finally get to play games that have been canceled or postponed. I think you're going to start to see a real rise in 21 and especially in 22 recruitment in the state as more and more games get played, and there's still no games being played in California, Washington, or Oregon.
Brandon Huffman, you are the best in the business. We appreciate it for the time and the insight.
Thanks, Jordan. Anytime.